Welcome, everyone. Welcome to today's session of Privacy Stellar. Thank you so much for joining today's session. And the objective of today's session is to prepare you well in advance for, like how we are moving into a privacy-centric world. Today, I have Siddharth, who is the product lead for the privacy and consent and measurement products. And I am your product expert, Varun Mehra. Both of us would be taking you through what are the best practices, what's the importance of the different types of data that is, like coming into the change because of the new laws and also the regulations that are coming into the picture. So moving ahead with the session. Okay, so quickly, just looking at the agenda, what we'll be covering in today's session. First of all, we'll be covering importance of first-party data and like how it differs from third-party data. Then we go into like how to measure your first-party data, how to like measure your conversions on Google Ads using Google Tag and Google Tag Manager. Then we would be moving into understanding why consent mode exists and what's the importance of it, like how we can respect users privacy at the same time, like while tracking your conversions. Then we would be moving into customer enhanced conversions, basically trying to understand, like how do you like survive in a cookie-less world where the cookies are like just not like probably blocked or like not able to track, but still want to like track your conversions. And then finally using your customer match list to expand your reach beyond just like your online targeting. Okay, so first of all, I think we should talk about like the importance of first party data and why it exists. Like this started way back in 2018 when European Union introduced GDPR law. And what started as a trickle has like, like changed how we look at conversions, how we marketers now look at tracking and the tracking solutions, and how we can like target our customers going forward. And if you look at the timeline, you can see that there have been like various laws that were introduced. There were various technologies that were introduced by the tech giants like Apple and Google both. And it's just not the tech giants, it's basically like also the government who is also becoming like more aware about how to protect users data in an online centric world where everything is being measured, where as marketers we want to like measure everything that we can. um like so this is becoming the new norm, and I think it's like best we understand at like what are the challenges of this whole new scenario that is coming in, and also the opportunities for us as marketers to make the best out of it. So we explained like what's the like major reason why we had to like move into this privacy centric world. Now just quickly look let's just quickly look at into like the benefits of moving into first party data. As you can see on the screen, 9 out of 10 companies say that first party data is important to their digital marketing programs. And first party data, it could like mean like the interactions with the website, like their social media followers, their app users, etc., etc. But it's just not about like making sure that they are able to reach out to all of these people, but at the same time this has led to a 2x revenue uplift achieved by these brands and businesses who are able to link their first party data sources with their online advertising. Let's just quickly like look at the differences between first party data and third party data. Like I mentioned in the previous slide, your first party data includes your app users, people who interact with your website. They could be your social media followers, it could like be the customers that walk into your shop, into your offline business, and like have been making purchases through the offline method altogether. And on the other hand, third party data is basically the set of data that is licensed to advertisers by the tech giants for the most part, or online advertising companies. While this offers you the scale, it might not be the best, like best at accuracy and making sure that you're able to reach out to the right set of audience. And also, yes, a quick note on this that like with the enforcement of like online tracking changes in the past few years, first party data will only be the way forward to track user behavior, understand the importance and performance of online advertising, and at the same time like you'll have to revamp your marketing strategy altogether to include first party data into it. Let's just now that we understand, like what's the difference between first party data and what's third party data, let's just quickly look at how Google solutions can work together to help you achieve growth in this new privacy centric world. It all begins with the user interaction on your website. It could be a website, it could be your app, it could be, like a user interaction while they walk into your store and then make a purchase. Then, at the foundation of everything is Google Tag or Google Tag Manager. It helps you capture first party data and connect your website or your app with the Google Ads campaign. And while we are looking at privacy, like this camp is like all about privacy. So understanding like the consent mode is definitely very important at here, because we want to respect the user's consent. We want to make sure that we are taking the required consent from the users for us to target them in future with the ads. And then moving forward, we have enhanced conversions for web. Basically, this helps you like attribute conversions accurately with your first party data in a scenario where cookieless tracking exists, right? There might not be like cookies that are enabled by default, or maybe the customer did not really agree to the consent. In even in that scenario, the model conversions help you like accurately track your conversions and attribute it to the right customer. Similarly, the same thing goes for your leads, where you can connect your offline conversions to your campaign and then also measure the impact of your online advertising into your store visits or the purchases that are happening offline in your store. And finally, expanding your reach with customer match. This includes basically, like targeting your past customers, the people who have purchased from your business or your online website in the past, or maybe have interacted with your website or the app in some way or form. And together, when all of these like are combined, this helps us achieve the maximum growth as in an online advertising scenario as marketers. Moving on to the next slide, where we just quickly have a look at like how to set up future proof measurement using Google Tag. Okay, so if you like look at the diagram over here, you can see once again Google Tag is basically at the center of it. It's basically the foundation that helps you like not just measure your observed conversions that are happening on your website or the app, but also model conversions where the customer might have not given you the consent, but are still like using AI and other technologies. It's still able to attribute it accurately to the right customer. And then moving on, it helps you like with the attribution of your conversions that are happening on your online website or the app. Then it enables you as marketers to use smart bidding and other innovative solutions that exist on Google Ads to not just scale your campaign but get the maximum ROI out of it. And together, when all of these solutions are combined, when you like set up all of these solutions in the way they're intended to, you achieve the revenue growth that like you want to drive out of these marketing campaigns. Like I mentioned in the previous slide, Google Tag Happens or gtag.ts, which is basically the script that you put on your website, is the foundation for a future-proof measurement solution. It's Google's future-proof measurement solution that sets cookies in same domain or website, also known as first-party cookies. Implementing Google Tag is basically like gives you like a host of benefits, where in this slide we would be covering some of them. It helps you unlock the privacy sandbox, right? It helps you with the privacy sandbox. You can like basically look at the both measurement and audiences. As long as your Google Tag is set up accurately, we will the Google does the rest of it and makes sure that you're getting the full benefits of the API. It also helps you improve the accuracy of stronger conversion models. Basically, like I mentioned in the previous slide, right, that it helps you like understand not just the solutions, not just the conversions that are happening on your website directly with the consent, but also the model conversions where the cookies do not exist, but you would still want to like measure those conversions. And also enables you to use solutions like different bidding models, like bidding on your values of purchases, smart bidding, etc., etc. And then finally, new measurement features will be built on top of your existing infrastructure, uh, that you can easily take advantage of the latest capabilities without the risk of data loss using Google Tag. Next, we are going to look at how you can implement Google Tag. Basically, there are two ways to go about it. One is Google Tag, another is Google Tag Manager. Google Tag is only available for Google products like Google Ads as a 360 and DV360. But on the other hand, if you want to measure beyond Google, like for example, you want to also measure your meta ads that you're running on Facebook or Instagram, for example, then you would be moving on to Google Tag Manager. It basically gives you like a platform where you can um, like not just like set up the tags for Google ads but also for other platforms in a way that is very consumer centric and helps you as marketers to set up the right tags without the use of like developers altogether for the most part, and also comes in with some custom and also pre provided solutions that you can just like set up directly as extensions. Then in the future, both of the products will be getting the upgrades according to the changing scenarios, and will make sure that both of the solutions will help you like track the marketing changes as they happen. Let's just quickly look at like what are the common implementation issues that are happening with Google Tag altogether. So one primary thing that we have noticed from marketers is that Google Tag not being implemented site wide. So you need to make sure that Google Tag needs to be implemented on every and each page of a website to effectively measure and optimize your digital marketing investment. This helps you track the journey of the user as they like move through your website or the app, but also see like how are they actually moving through the funnel and then getting to the purchases or the desired action that you want to like get from the marketing campaigns. Please make sure that you're using your tag coverage summary to identify which are the pages that have Google Tag installed on the website and are working properly, and what are those pages where you need to like work upon it once again. Auto tagging not enabled. So this is another core problem area that you need to look into. So while you're in Google Ads, make sure that you have enabled auto tagging. This is a required feature which allows you to check how effectively your ad clicks lead to a valuable customer activity. It could be a purchase on your website, it could be an interaction, or it could be just like a form fill altogether. But when you enable Google auto tagging, it gives you like a GCLI ID, which helps you measure the impact of your marketing campaigns very accurately in a new privacy centric world. Only relying on legacy tags. So please, like it's a recommendation that you do not just rely on the legacy tag, but because legacy conversion tags, the previous version of Google Ads or floodlight tags, which rely on third-party cookies. And since we are talking about a new measurement scenario altogether, like where we want to focus on first-party data, this can lead to double counting of your conversions. And as a best practice, it is recommended that you remove all of the legacy tags before you implement Google Tag or Google Tag Manager. And you can also use Google's Tag Assistant to check for legacy tags for the same. And finally, if your website contains multiple domains, right? If your website is hosted on multiple domains, maybe you're one of those businesses that serve in different like global areas, right, for different languages, etc. Make sure that you have enabled cross domain tracking, because this conversion page needs to be the same domain as the landing page of the ad. You'll need to implement cross domain tracking to maintain measurement if you have multiple domains on your website, for the website, I'm sorry. And then finally, since I was talking about like measuring how the user moves through the funnel, tagging needs to be like implemented across the funnel, right from the point where user clicks on the ad, where I was talking about enabling auto tagging on your Google Ads account. Then like making sure that you have performed the GSLAID test, and then like just click on the ad once, make sure the URL contains a GCLID, so that you can understand the ads are like working as intended to, and also the tracking is working as intended. GCLID is basically stored in a first party cookie which signals auto tagging, and make sure that there are no redirects happening when the user lands on the landing page. When the user navigates through the pages, please reconfirm site-wide tagging, check that GSL ID stays the same, and as we navigate through the website before the conversion page Or if you have multiple pages before the conversion happens, make sure the GCL ID is being passed on to each and every page. Second, finally, please, like before going live with your campaigns, make sure that you have been through the funnel altogether as a test, and make sure that you complete a test conversion, which will send a signal back to Google Ads as well, and will help you understand that the site-wide tagging is enabled and working as required. Okay, finally, we can, like I was talking previously, how you can check for the untagged pages through tag coverage report. Basically, this is a report that is available in Google Tag Manager. It helps you understand what are the pages that are included and where the tags are working fine. What are the pages that where, like Google Tag is not working, and please make sure that while reviewing it, you're reviewing it for the gaps. Make sure that you're trying to like implement the site-wide tagging on each and every page to maximize the first party data collection in a privacy compliant way. Second, make sure that you're monitoring and improving as we go upon it. And then finally, how to like basically test whether the tags are working fine or not is another solution by Google called Google's Tag Assistant, where you can test the implementation of the tags that you have set up on Google Tag Manager. And while you're doing the testing, you can see in the debugging window altogether what are the tags that are working as intended, what are the tags that are not working as intended. And also you can check the data that is being sent to the Google products. In You can check whether the data layers that have been like that you have set up are working or not, how's the consent mode working, etc., and if there are any errors or not. And once again, this is available in Google Tag Manager so that you can access it um, easily. Next, I'll just quickly invite Siddharth Nanda, who's a product expert on privacy centric solutions, and he'll be taking you through the consent mode. Thanks, Siddharth.
Thank you, Varun. Hello, everyone. I hope you've had fun so far. Thanks a bunch to Varun for taking us through all this. Now, I'm going to walk you through the rest of the slides out here and give you an idea on the stuff that we have. And I'm going to present my screen as well so that it becomes a little bit easier to present. So hang on. Cool. All right, let's begin. So let's shift gears a little bit into another key aspect of the session today, which is consent mode. I think Varun mentioned this a little bit earlier, but the role of consent mode in this entire architecture stack is to help ensure that we are respecting user consent choices. And specifically where user consent is not available, are we using modeling to fill in the right gaps? You would have started encountering this across many websites by now, where they would likely ask you for the consent to allow and process first-party cookie info. Like you open up the website, you see a banner in the below that tells, hey, do you want to let us accept all cookies, deny cookies, and all that. Now, to ensure that you capture all these user consent choices, you need to have some sort of a mechanism or system in place. We usually recommend using a consent management platform known as a CMP, which is usually a third-party solution. However, you are free to get an in-house solution as well. Now, the second key step here is to ensure that you have a consent-aware banner in place. This banner should be able to understand and record the user's consent choices, whether they have accepted or denied consent to the marketing cookies or analytics cookies. In the third step, you can set up consent mode either by using the CMP settings, which should be integrated within it, or hard coding it if you're using like a third party or any sort of in-house solution out there. Once you have completed all these steps, you can verify if the implementation is working properly by leveraging the Google Ads UI, which will show you the current status of your consent mode. Okay, let's illustrate how the consent mode works in real time today with a simple example. Suppose a user lands on a website or app. They're typically presented with the whole consent banner where they can either choose to accept, deny, or make a custom choice as well if they wish to. If they accept the available options and provide their consent, then the tags will going to fire normally. Consent mode annotates the data that Google receives with an affirmative consent signal. In this case, basically everything works as usual. There's nothing out of the ordinary, and all your regular measurement and personalization use cases will remain intact. However, if the user, let's say, chooses to reject the consent choice, then the tags will not fire in this case. And any measurement or personalized use cases for the user, they get disabled. This, this is where consent mode truly shines, because it helps Google tags understand that, yeah, explicit user consent is not available, but in such cases, it can use AI-powered conversion modeling to fill in those gaps there and accurately estimate the conversions, even when the explicit user consent is not available. This way, we ensure that businesses can still measure the effectiveness of their marketing campaigns and personalize the user experience without compromising on user privacy. Sorry. Google offers a plethora of options today to integrate your consent mode based on the use case that you have. So for online measurement, for example, depending on the buying platform you might have, consent mode can integrate with Floodlight or with Google Ad Stacks or the Google Firebase SDK. We recommend using a CMP partner solution because it makes it much easier, but you can definitely, as I mentioned, use an in-house solution to implement consent mode. If you are using, let's say, a Floodlight tag, which is a legacy tag, you can use the Transparency and Consent Framework, otherwise known as TCF, or your Campaign Manager 360's LTD parameter to ensure that consent signals are passed through correctly. For app advertisers who are using, let's say, an app attribution partner, the recommended solution is to use an app-based consent solution to pass these consent signals through either way. And thirdly, if you're using offline measurement, for example, you can use the respective product's API for whatever you're using for passing these consent signals. If you're doing direct uploads, you can specify or annotate the end user consent directly in the manual file that you choose to upload. Hoping I'm making sense. Now, moving forward, in cases where the personalization is necessary and you're effectively targeting audiences, we offer similar solutions depending on online and offline targeting. So for let's say online targeting, you can implement consent mode and integrate it directly with Floodlight or Google Ads or Analytics tags, GA4 SDK, whichever you choose. Before I go ahead, a little quick side note. If you have significant traffic coming from the European Economic Area, you now have two new parameters in addition to the traditional ad storage and analytics storage that you use. I think they are ad user data and ad personalization. These parameters are available with consent mode version 2. We recommend that you definitely configure consent mode v2 so that these additional parameters get passed on to Google and you are perfectly in compliance with all global regulations that are required. All right, backtracking to our usual case. For measurement use cases, if you have a legacy Floodlight tag, you can use TCF LTD or non-personalized ads or NPA parameters to specify if you have an end user consent for personalization. For offline audience targeting, depending on the product or platform you're using, you can use the respective product-specific API to pass these consent signals. And if you're doing direct uploads via the UI, let's say uploading directly a CSV into it, you now have facilities available in the UI itself, like in UI systems for service attestation opt-in option. You can specify that the batch of data you're uploading has explicit end user consent for that specific use case. Cool. It's crucial to remember that if you're utilizing customer data for customer match, you can upload customer information gathered in the first party context. Additionally, it's essential to ensure that your privacy policy actively discloses to the user that you're collecting their customer data for providing services, and that too via third-party solution providers as well, if you are going with the CMPs. You should also obtain legally required consent wherever required. We strongly recommend using only Google's approved APIs or interfaces for uploading all the customer data. Please make sure you adhere to all applicable laws, regulations, industry codes, etc., including any sort of self-regulatory or industry standards to ensure you're compliant with all the regulations. Cool. Quick couple of points for app advertisers. If you are implementing consent mode for apps, then we again provide a couple of different options for you to go about in terms of setting the default consent parameters and provisions for going about how you can update all the data on your analytics storage parameters. So you can go ahead and specify these parameters to Firebase. And if you want to disable consent and have the set consent method that you want to use to actually go about updating, Then the current parameters for contents is available on the next slide, where we can see how the consent mode itself is going to be set. Cool. Like I mentioned, using this particular method, you can go about ensuring that both analytics and ad storage values get configured. But also, remember, this persists across all your app executions. So the other bit is that this tends to override any sort of default settings that you might have configured, as shown in the previous slide. And important point to note over here is that once you're calling the consent mode for, let's say, ad storage, for example, that does not invariably mean that the ads and that the analytics storage state will be affected, and vice versa. So you are containerized within the particular area. Your ad storage will not be affecting your analytics storage space, and that works the same for across all the other containers. So these are a couple of pointers that will definitely help you along your way when you are using consent mode and configuring it according to your specific use case that you have for your business. I hope this brief overview gives you a decent understanding of how to go about using the consent mode product. Now, given that we have discussed this a bit, I want to signify that implementing enhanced conversions as a product itself is extremely crucial as we move ahead. These conversions are designed to bridge the whole measurement gap in case you don't have any, the consent mode available, by leveraging all the first party data that we have already managed to gather via available conversions out there. Let's begin by examining the broader picture of how enhanced conversions contributes to your revenue generation and growth through modeling. So on the left side in this chart that you can see, we have various data sources from which the customer captures and uploads conversions along with their corresponding values. So in a first party data focused world, enhanced conversions makes it much easier to understand which ad interactions should be attributed to conversions. It employs conversion modeling with AI-based machine learning to establish connections between ad interactions and conversions using the first-party data. This will ultimately lead to a much more precise measurement, automation, optimization, and end result, it will drive a significant amount of revenue growth for you. Cool. Let's understand a little bit deeper about how this works. So improved conversions can be divided into two categories. There's enhanced conversions for web, which is designed for online conversions. There's enhanced conversion for leads, which is geared towards offline conversions. In the first case, enhanced conversions for web, the process involves usually the following sort of steps. So a user would, like is mentioned here, a user would sign into Google, interact with your advertiser's website. This user would then make some sort of a conversion, let's say, on the website, depending upon whatever you have defined as a conversion. At this point, the conversion tag captures the user's first-party data, such as his email address or phone number. At this point, the data is hashed, unless we'll talk a little bit more in detail about the whole hashing thing. But just make a note that the data is hashed at this point, unless the advertiser has already hashed it. This hashed data is securely sent back to Google. Once it's with us, Google matches this hashed user data with his own signed user data. And once a match is found, we report this out as a conversion. At no point we are able to know who exactly the user is. We have a camouflaged version of the user, which we're trying to match against our own camouflaged version to understand, okay, what this user likes, and basis that we will be reporting out the conversions. This is most beneficial for the advertisers who run search or YouTube campaigns on Google Ads or Campaign Ads 360 with a conversion tracking tag in place via, let's say, G Tag or Google Tag Manager. Analysis of our past performance metrics have indicated that advertisers who did use enhanced conversions for web, they typically tend to see an average conversion lift of around 5% on search and 70% on YouTube. Enhanced conversion leads, like I mentioned, there were two types, enhanced conversion for web and now enhanced conversion for leads, which enables the measurement of offline and otherwise untraceable conversion events up to around 63 days after the click. This allows customers to import these events directly into Google Ads or the Google marketing platform, providing a much more granular understanding of how online clicks will be driving offline actions. With improved reporting visibility and insights, the advertisers can easily distinguish between what's a click, what's a conversion, and what leads to high versus low quality leads out there. Point to note, similar to enhanced conversion for web, enhanced conversion for leads also utilize first-party data. However, for offline conversions, instead of directly importing the data into Google Ads, the advertiser will be importing the first party data, which as a consequence allows for much better smart bidding optimization. This section explains the difference between, I'm just going to call it EC for web and EC for leads, and the standard offline conversion import. For EC for web, the required conversion type is online website conversions, which aims to increase conversions missed due to browser restrictions on cookies or improve your overall online conversion measurement. While on the other hand, EC for web, EC for leads requires the offline conversion data, the conversion type, and aims to improve the offline transaction measurement originating from like a website lead or a visitor. Most importantly, EC for leads do not require customers to like set up or modify any separate CRM system to retrieve and store the GCL ID. And lastly, the standard offline conversion import has the same conversion type as offline conversion data. However, note that the standard offline conversion does not require customers to capture or hash out any first-party customer data. Instead, you simply need to go back and modify or even set up your CRM to store the GCL ID and upload them back to Google Ads. If you don't have a separate CRM system, which we highly recommend, this process can be very, very time consuming. Okay, this is the point that we wanted to talk about earlier. As we have extensively discussed a lot of first-party user data earlier, data security concerns may obviously arise. It is crucial to understand that the fundamental mechanism by which Google today securely processes the data. Now, as I stated before, during the Google tag capturing of first-party user data, the system automatically formats and hashes the data unless the customer has chosen to hash it already on their end. It's important to note that all this hashing and all the work occurs before any data is sent to Google. So we do not do anything at our end. It all happens at the user end themselves. We employ a sort of a one-way hashing technique, which is an irreversible mechanism. Important to note that no unencrypted data is ever exchanged with Google in any sort of raw format. The hash data that is shared cannot be accessed through a Google interface by either Google employees or customers anywhere. Lastly, the hash data does not, any hash data that we receive but does not match any of our own Google data is automatically deleted, and we do not retain it with us. Measures like these help guarantee that Google only utilizes the user data that is necessary to be matched and reported as a conversion in a more secure manner. Moving forward, we definitely continue to invest in a variety of technologies and diversify our approach. But unfortunately, there will regrettably not be any singular solution that can replace cookies in the future. However, this is definitely one of the best approaches we can follow. Our reliance in modeling is going to increase. In the past, we could automatically say model a majority of our loss conversions, but in the future, we will definitely require more and more signals to improve our modeling accuracy. We will, I think, discuss this in detail in the following sections as well. One last point to make, we anticipate that the ecosystem will definitely continue to evolve and change, so we must also be prepared to adapt and adopt any new technologies coming up. Now, when it comes to the techniques for enhanced conversions, there are three primary prerequisites to ensure successful implementation. One, the customer's website must be tagged through Google Tag Manager or Google Tag with auto tagging enabled. Second, the customer must use Google Ads or GA4 or SA360 as their main conversion source. And thirdly, enhanced conversions usually involve leveraging and augmenting the first-party data. So it's crucial that customer data be available on the customer's web page. This usually works best for deep conversion types like, let's say, sign-up pages or purchases where customer data is required. Okay, there are three main implementation types available for EC for web. Starting with the automatic tag base, this allows the system to automatically recognize, fetch, and use the first-party data on the customer's web page for enhanced conversions. The second option is a manual CSS or code base, where the customer manually decides which user data to capture and send them to Google with hashing. And lastly, there's the API, which is the most time-consuming implementation, but it's crucial to analyze at your end which of these three methods best suits your current tracking infrastructure today. Regarding enhanced conversion for leads, we offer various implementation and data import options as well. So the first, as you can see, is file uploads, which allows for importing CSV, Excel, or any Google Sheets files directly into Google Ads through the UI. In terms of setup ease, this method is considered kind of medium. while automation is low here. To set up any scheduled uploads, the customer is recommended to link a file over HTTPS or SFTP, making automation a little bit slower. Alternatively, note that we offer direct CRM integration as well. So your conversion uploads will start happening automatically through integrations like with platforms such as Salesforce, HubSpot, Zendesk. All of these platforms are compatible with us. This method usually ranks high for both setup ease and automation, so it is definitely one of our most recommended import types. And finally, we have direct API level integration, where conversion uploads happen automatically via the Google Ads API. The setup difficulty is low, but automation is definitely very, very high here. The only problem is it assumes that the customer should be familiar with how to do the API setup. So if you are familiar, feel free to definitely go ahead with this approach. All right, it's crucial to assess the enhanced conversions ability to make a notable impact on overall performance from start to finish. Beginning with the simple ability to recover conversion losses caused by browser regulatory changes, enhanced conversion overall provides a net positive impact. Additionally, it also enables the observation of net new conversions stemming from additional first-party data, which leads to enhanced observability from augmented first-party data sources, allowing better modeling and allows the modeling to be much more robust and precise. Consequently, this also results in improved data ingestion by debate models and attribution models, and ultimately better overall conversions, CVRs, and lower cost per acquisition rates. Cool. All right, I think we covered a pretty significant chapter. Now let's head on to the final chapter of the day, which is customer match. Customer Match is an essential tool today. It's powered by first-party data, and it helps empower all our advertisers in achieving their marketing objectives. Basically, what it does, it leverages first-party data to identify and expand upon it, and eventually target individuals who have shown interest in your website. By matching this data that we have available with all our known Google users, you can help retarget existing customers, acquire new customers as well, and also deliver a tailored messaging to each segment. This enables you to effectively reach your target audience and enhance your marketing campaigns. The activation of customer match can be broken down into 4 distinct steps, easy to understand. So first step is basically ingestion, where you're ingesting the customer match data, which involves transferring your segment or your customer data into Google as your first party data. Next step is about matching, where Google matches this data against our known user data, which enables you to utilize it to reach various audiences across multiple devices and channels. This is where the whole expansion thing occurs. You find out users who are similar to what are visiting you, and then find out more users like that. And finally, there's the expansion stage, which allows you to enhance and expand upon these, like I mentioned, providing you with more opportunities to engage with your target market. Customer match can be available across multiple different marketing channels, search, shopping, video, Gmail, whichever one you choose to look at. We are streamlining and simplifying our ingestion channels, enabling customers to upload and move their data seamlessly across multiple Google platforms. So when uploading first-party customer data, you have multiple methods available to you. Some methods like manual upload and API obviously require more technical know-how and are considered lengthy and complex. But alternatively, advertisers can utilize existing conversion lists that are added to their Google Ads account as well. These can be leveraged to build customer match audiences and enhance campaign performance. Additionally, various external partners can assist in ingesting custom first-party data into Google Ads, which makes the process much more accessible and efficient. We recently introduced a new tab in Google Ads UI, which is called as the Google Ads Data Manager, or Data Manager for short. This tool allows you to link your first-party data, such as customer match or enhanced conversion, to your Google Ads account. The beauty of this tool is that it streamlines the entire implementation process and addresses concerns which have previously been expressed by advertisers in that you no longer need to coordinate between marketing and data teams to link your first-party data. These steps now become independent of each other. So the marketing team can create conversions or customize audiences at their convenience, while the data team can link your CRMs or first-party data across various channels and partners independently. The order of these steps is flexible. You can link the data first and then create the conversions, or vice versa. The Google Ads Data Manager also provides like a comprehensive view of all the first party data that is linked to your account. So you can easily navigate and understand which data sources are used for which features, be it conversions or customer match, whichever. Making changes and edits is also pretty straightforward through this manner. And additionally, the data manager also includes a step for consent audiences, ensuring that all data that is linked through the tool complies with the DMA and various laws governing user consent across various regions. To understand how customer match works, let's break down the steps a bit. First step is about data hashing. So on the local machine of the user, the customer data is hashed using the SHA-256 algorithm, and then this hash data is sent securely to Google. As I mentioned before, it's a very similar process. Now, once we have this in the second stage, in what Google's role basically is that Google never has access to any of the actual email addresses that you store. All the data remains hashed at all times. Once Google receives the hash data, it is used only and only for matching purposes. Now, upon receiving the hash data, we cross-reference it with existing Google users. So specifically, we search for all, like I mentioned, we search for all Google users who we have and attempt to match them with the users that we have received. If a match is found, these matched users will be added to your customer match audience. Once that step is completed, which tends to take around like 48 hours, the data is immediately deleted. We do not store any of the first party data. We simply examine it, categorize the users into audience lists, and allow you to utilize these lists moving forward. No data is retained by Google at any point. In addition to the common issues and FAQs that we have encountered with the customer match, we have compiled like a small list of the frequently asked questions specific to customer match. So to determine if your account, let's say, is eligible for customer match, we have created like an easy to follow step-by-step guide. This guide will ask simple questions like how much you have spent and whether your account has been live for at least 90 days, which is to give us enough data upon which we can expand upon. Now, based on these answers, the guide will indicate your eligibility status and provide you with the next steps. This usually, like I mentioned before, it involves the whole hashing, enlisting the data, and matching processes. Another common question we've received is about the size of the customer match lists. We won't go into the detail of all these questions here. Instead, we have provided you here with various help and support articles that you can feel free to refer to. And of course, our support teams are always available to assist you in case you have any questions or concerns. Feel free to reach out to our team, raise any issues, or seek further clarification. And with that, we have reached the end of our presentation. I thank you for coming, and I hope you really enjoyed the session and found it useful. Please have a great day.
Thanks, Siddharth. I think that was really a very insightful session. Guys, please, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to our support representatives or reach out to our health center articles to read more about it. And you can always watch this video on demand on YouTube later on. Thank you so much.
Thank you, folks. See you.